The history of the Philippines from 1521 to 1898 was the period following the arrival of Ferdinand Magellan to the Philippines, during Spain's financed expeditions to the Philippine Islands, and the subsequent period of colonial rule. Beginning with the arrival in 1521 of the Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan, the colonial period of the Philippines as a colony of the Spanish Empire ended with the Philippine Revolution in 1898, which marked the beginning of the American colonization of the Philippines. Lapu-Lapu. Ferdinand Magellan arrived in the Philippines on March 16, 1521. Although the continent may have been visited before by the Potiruigasan, who conquered Mandra City in 1356 and reached Maluku Islands in 1512, the earliest documented European expedition to the Philippines was the one led by Ferdinand Magellan, in the service of the King of Spain, in 1521. Magellan's expedition sighted the mountains of Cebu at dawn on 17 March 1521, making landfall the following day at the small, uninhabited island of Homonhon at the mouth of the Leyte Gulf. On Easter Sunday 31 March 1521, at Mazawa, today believed to be Limasawa Island in southern Leyte, as is stated in Antonio Pigafetta's Relazioni del Potregues Viaggio intorno al mondo, First Voyage Around the World, Magellan solemnly planted a cross on the summit of a hill overlooking the sea and claimed for the King of Spain possession of the islands he had seen, naming them Archipelago of St. Lazarus. 2. Conquest under Philip II. Edit in 1543, Ruy López de Villalobos named the islands of Leyte and Sama las Islas Filipinas in honor of Philip of Austria, the Prince of Asturias at the time. 6. Philip became Philip II of Spain on January 16, 1556, when his father, Charles I of Spain, who also reigned as Charles V, Holy Roman Emperor, abdicated the Spanish throne. Philip was in Brussels at the time and his return to Spain was delayed until 1559 because of European politics and wars in northern Europe. Shortly after his return to Spain, Philip ordered an expedition mounted to the Spice Islands, stating that its purpose was to discover the islands of the West. 7. In reality its task was to conquer the Philippines for Spain. 8. On November 19 or 20, 1564 a Spanish expedition of a mere 500 men led by Miguel López de Legazpi departed Barra de Navidad, New Spain, arriving off Cebu on February 13, 1565, conquering it despite Cebuano opposition. 9. 77 Spanish colonists. Edit. The European population in the archipelago steadily grew although indigenous Filipinos remained the majority. During the initial period of colonization, Manila was settled by 1,200 Spanish families. 13. In Cebu City, at the Visayas, the settlement received a total of 2,100 soldier settlers from New Spain, Mexico. 14. At the immediate south of Manila, Mexicans were present at Ermita, 15, and at Cavite, 16, where they were stationed as sentries. In addition, men conscripted from Peru were also sent to settle Zamboanga City in Mindanao, to wage war upon Muslim pirates. 17. There were also communities of Spanish mestizos that developed in Iloilo, 18, Negros, 19, and Vegan. 20. Interactions between indigenous Filipinos and immigrant Spaniards plus Latin Americans eventually caused the formation of a new language, Chavacano, a Creole of Mexican Spanish. They depended on the galleon trade for a living. In the later years of the 18th century, Governor-General Basco introduced economic reforms that gave the colony its first significant internal source income from the production of tobacco and other agricultural exports. In this later period, agriculture was finally opened to the European population, which before was reserved only for indigenous Filipinos.